Sunday, July 27th is Amateur Day. Yes, it'll be a big day for the Sandlotters on July 27th. That's Amateur Day in Cleveland. To tell you about it and introduce our prominent guest, here is Tom Manning.
Good evening, America. Tonight I have a great story for you. This year, Cleveland's great sports-loving public is paying tribute to one of the grandest characters our city has ever known. He's Bill Duggan, the lovable Irishman who presides over the activities of Cleveland's Baseball Federation. This is Uncle Willie's 25th year of devoted service to the Sandlotters of the city of Cleveland. Thanks, in great part, to his efforts, Cleveland today is the amateur baseball capital of America. Amateur Day, as an annual civic attraction, is the original brainchild of Bill Duggan. Now, as a matter of fact, the story of Amateur Day and the story of Uncle Bill Duggan are, in many ways, identical stories. When Bill was a youngster playing on the Sandlot, he was hit in the leg by a flying bat. Several years later, the injury was aggravated and an operation was necessary. It cost the Duggan family quite a bit of money. When he became connected with the Sandlotter organization in 1922, Bill Duggan made up his mind that no boy in the future would have to pay for his own medical treatment if he got hurt in a baseball game. He went to the Cleveland Baseball Federation Board of Directors and proposed an annual Amateur Day for the purpose of raising money for hospital and medical care. That was 25 years ago, 1923. For the last quarter of a century, Bill Duggan has lived for amateur baseball, and to his everlasting credit, amateur baseball has lived in Cleveland largely because of Bill Duggan. In these 25 years, the Cleveland Baseball Federation has become an institution with a fine national name. No other city in the nation has a Sandlot baseball program comparable to that here in Cleveland. Tonight, we are saluting Bill Duggan and the men around him who do such a terrific job of conducting the business of amateur baseball here in Cleveland. In the studios of WTAM tonight, we have the men who guide the destinies of the CBF, the directors of the organization to whose generosity Cleveland owes a debt of gratitude. Now, these men give without counting the cost. They do it because they have a genuine love for the kids of the city of Cleveland. From it, they get no financial return. The glory and the bows even go to others. What little acclaim they do receive cannot be measured in dollars and cents profit to them. There probably isn't a kid in the city of Cleveland who knows that President Bill Duggan sells cement. And if they did know, well, they wouldn't have any occasion to buy any, at least not right now. So, why has Bill Duggan spent lavishly of his time for a quarter of a century on a venture that brings nothing in financial return? I've got the answer. It's because Bill has a heart as big as that stadium of ours, and a father's love for every last kid who has ever played the game of baseball. Bill Duggan once said, quote, "Give a boy a bat and a ball and a diamond to play on, and we guarantee he will not be led astray," end of quote. Now, many people say that's the shortest speech that Bill Duggan ever made. But at any rate, it's that proposition that has made the Cleveland Baseball Federation the driving force it is in the lives of Cleveland's Sandlot kids. Bill Duggan, the city of Cleveland, takes its hat off to you for 25 years of loyal and distinguished service to the cause of our children. You have labored tirelessly, unselfishly, to keep amateur baseball clean, active, and successful. Uncle Willie, blow out the candles. It's your birthday, sir.
Oh, gee, Tom. Thanks for all the nice words. Frankly, Tom, I'm speechless.
Speechless? That's something of a record, isn't it, fellas? Bill, how did you become connected with Sandlot baseball in Cleveland in the first place?
Well, that was a rather curious thing, Tom. You know, my son Larry was pitching in the 16-year-old division in 1922, and he hurled his team into the championship finals. The title game went 15 innings to a tie, but we discovered that the other team was using one player who was 19 and another one who was 22. So I protested. But each time I did, the arbitration board would make us play the game over instead of awarding us the victory. And when we lost the repeat game 3-2 in 11 innings, I protested again for those sons of guns. They used the same players. We played it over again and lost again. Well, Tom, I protested so often that the board of directors finally offered me a job in the organization. They put me in charge of Class E. And then, Tom, the next year, I was elected president.
Wonderful job, Bill. Cleveland is proud of you. Baseball fans, in the 25 years in which Uncle Bill Duggan has been one of the guiding lights in amateur baseball in Cleveland, the Cleveland Baseball Federation has grown into a tremendous operation. Without a doubt, Cleveland leads the country in sandlot sports. 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 Thousands depend upon it for their recreation, both as participants and as spectators. Now, the money to support this giant project is realized mainly from the proceeds of Amateur Day, the one day in the year when the CBF passes the hat. Amateur Day in Cleveland this year is next Sunday at the stadium. A wonderful pregame program has been lined up. It'll be topped off by a Class A game between the Rosenblums and the Bard Tunics. That'll be under the lights. Now, much of the money raised by the CBF comes from the sale of patron tickets, another original feature of Amateur Day. This sale is being conducted again, as always, by Max Rosenblum and Nig Rose, whose magnificent volunteer gesture each year assures the financial success of amateur baseball in Cleveland. Now, theirs is no easy task. They have to go out and dig for money. They call on friends, plead with them in turn to call on their friends. It's a semi-thankless job at best, but Max Rosenblum and Nig Rose retain their enthusiasm year in and year out. Patron tickets are $5, and, well, doggone it, $5 seems like a lot of money to all of us these days. But Max Rosenblum recently got a letter. Yes, he sent it out and it came back, and it sort of symbolizes the spirit of the patron ticket drive. I want to read that letter to you. Here it is. It says, "Dear Max, you're quite right. Demands on our time and money are heavy, and they're getting heavier every day. But we'd really be hard up, wouldn't we, Max, if we couldn't give the kids of Cleveland a hand to play baseball. My check for $5 is enclosed." Ah, that's dandy. Thanks. You're a great sport. Well, Nig Rose is here in the studio, treasurer of the Cleveland Baseball Federation. Nig, tell us, how do you go about collecting the money for the kids? What's your goal this year?
We collected $16,000 last year, Tom, and we're trying to surpass that this year. And with a break, I think we will do it.
Well, Nig, when did Max begin this patron ticket drive?
It was in 1938. The Cleveland Baseball Federation was planning several lighted fields that year, but times were bad and our funds were low. Max was chairman of Amateur Day, and we decided to sell patron tickets at $5 a throw. We got about $4,000 that year. The following year, we boosted it to $5,200, and in 1940, we increased it to $5,650. We've been going up little by little. 2 years ago, we hit $15,000, and last year, $16,000. We've sent out 1,200 letters this year, and the response has been gratifying. But there's still a lot of hard work to be done if we're going to reach our goal. The cost of supplies has nearly doubled since last year alone. And with a greater number of boys playing baseball this year, our medical costs will be that much higher. The replacement equipment for Class F went up 77% from 1945 to 1946. That is, from $870 to $1,540. And this year there was an increase of 62% over last year, making it $2,500 will be our budget this year for that one phase alone. Believe it or not, the increase this year over the $870 spent in 1945 is 188%. The same skyrocketing costs are true of all kinds of equipment. Because of the increase in the number of teams, our cost for umpires has gone up, and so has the cost of trophies, etc. We had a budget of $9,000 in 1938, and believe it or not, it's now up to $30,000. Most of our old-time patrons have come through again in fine style. They seldom turn a deaf ear to our plea. But we need new patrons to support our drive. The number of teams playing baseball increases by leaps and bounds each year. Thus, we have to dig into any reserve we build up in the treasury from the year before to purchase equipment for the new team. Baseballs alone will cost us $1,500 more this year than last.
That's a great story. But, Nig, I know that Cleveland's thousands of baseball fans who have the welfare of the kids close to their hearts will lend a sympathetic ear toward your plea. It's for a great cause. And, ladies and gentlemen, if you can't afford a 5-spot for a patron ticket, well, get down to Amateur Day at the stadium next Sunday. And for 85 cents or $1.25, you can see 6 hours of baseball. That includes a night game between the Rosies and the Bartunics. And you'll be aiding one of the finest causes in the world. Please, for our sake, don't let the kids down. But, Nig, by the way, where do we send for the patron tickets?
Either to Max Rosenblum, 321 Euclid, or to Room 8, City Hall. And, Tom, we can't raise $16,000 on $5 bills. That's why we're asking our friends who can afford it to send us 10s and 20s. You'll notice by the newspapers that an ever-increasing number of patrons are donating 10, 25, and 50, and a few have sent us $100 checks. $5 today doesn't buy half as much as it did in 1938 when Max Rosenblum started his patron ticket drive.
Well, in 25 years, the Cleveland Baseball Federation has spent, now get this, $250,000 on one thing and another for the kids on the Sandlot. Now, one of the biggest items in this budget is medical care. Last year, more than one-third of the $15,500 collected for Amateur Day went to the injury fund. Well, Dr. Sterling is here tonight, and Doctor, you're chairman of the board of directors of the CBF. You should be able to tell us of the importance of the medical injury fund in the operation of amateur baseball activities in Cleveland, will you?
Tom, our medical injury fund is one of the most wonderful things about our program. More than 15,000 boys and girls and men and women receive free medical attention. Each week, more than 50 kids go to Dr. Marcus with some sort of a bump or bruise. That adds up to about 750 callers at Dr. Marcus' office each season. In the 12 years that he has been the CBF doctor, that means 9,000 patients, and none of them has had to dig into his own pocket to pay for his medical expenses. All this is taken care of by our medical fund. It's a great improvement over the old days when the kids had to use stones for bases and take their chances with them. Sure, they had sharp edges, but you made the best of it in those days. Ed McCauley likes to tell a story of a kid who played with him on a street team quite a few years ago. The boy slid into one of those stone bases and cut the flesh above his shin bone in a 4-inch triangle. They carried the lad to a nearby drugstore. The proprietor was interested and sympathetic, but there wasn't a thing he could do about it. That was a job for a doctor. The Boy Scouts in the group managed to stop the bleeding, and the boy was escorted home in a coaster wagon. A doctor finally showed up, but the kid had to spend several weeks at home, and his father had to pay the doctor bill. Well, today, the kids don't have to play on the corner lot or use stones for bases. And most important of all, they don't have to pay their own doctor bills. These are big considerations. Not all boys who play baseball can furnish their own equipment. This is an industrial city. The Sandlot players come, for most part, from the working segment of our population. And when they get hurt playing baseball, they must be helped financially. They can't afford long periods in hospital.
Are there many serious accidents on the Sandlots, Doctor?